howdy, race fans. Oh, get me a mid-drink there. Welcome to my little show about racing I like to call In the Pits. With me, StockCar Scott, drinking Mountain Dew. And as always, In the Pits comes to you here on YouTube on Wednesdays when I feel like it, because I have no sponsor to try to tell me what I should do. That, race fans, as you well know, is my wife's job. Friday, racing did not start, mainly because of Hurricane Joaquin. He parked himself out over the Atlantic Ocean there, and it rained all day at Dover. I didn't see any truck practice, maybe because it was on that there Phantom Sports channel. Qualifying for Sprint Cup and Xfinity Series was canceled, and the fields for the two NASCAR races at Dover this past weekend were set on owner points. Saturday, when I got up, I watched a little bit of practice there, and Happy Harvick was the happiest in the happy hour practice that the Sprint Cup drivers had, as opposed to the Xfinity drivers who got no practice and started their race on mystery setups. Yeehaw. So, I set up the recorders for the Xfinity, Camping World trucks, and the Sprint Cup racing for the weekend, and we headed out to Fall Classic at Yakima Speedway. Or we thought. The SS there, yeah, that's my model of my own car. The SS made it as far as the summit on Interstate 90 East, and then it blew a front seal, and smoke poured out of the back of the car, and I thought the SS had done blown up. But luckily, it was a recently installed part that failed, so it was still under warranty. So all it cost us was the tow, and of course missing the racing at Yakima. Yeah, buddy, my FOMOR was in full-on position because of all the racing that I knew I was missing out on by not attending the first day of Fall Classic. The tow truck came and got us there. They took us all the way home, got back in time to see the end of the Xfinity race there at Dover, which I immediately ran back so I could watch the whole thing before the impending Camping World truck race there at Sin City later that night. At Dover, I saw Regan Smith bring home a victory in the number 7 Junior Motorsports Camaro. Little Denny Hamlin was second, while his teammate, the Toad, was third, and he led the most laps in that Joe Gibbs Racing equipment that they run. Okay, the Xfinity driver points leader, Chris Buescher, finished 8th, just behind Chase Elliott in 7th, who is now 2nd in driver points because Ty Dillon had tire problems and finished a dismal 28th. With his win, Regan Smith passed Ty Dillon in the points for 3rd place, while Dillon drops to 4th. Elliott Sadler rose to 5th in points with his top 10 finish, and announced this week he and his sponsor would leave Roush and go to Junior Motorsports next season and drive for his friend Dale Jr., who announced also this week that I would have to get a new wardrobe next season because Jeff Gordon's old Exaltia sponsorship, I'll have to learn how to say Exaltia, will become a primary sponsor on Dale Jr.'s number 88 Chevy. And I was just getting used to this interesting shade of blue here that we got this year. I really like that, but saw a new version of one of the cars, and it looks real nice too. So back on the Xfinity points before I leave, though unfortunately for Sadler to move up to 5th in points, one of my very favorite Xfinity drivers there, Darrell Bubba Wallace Jr., dropped to 6th in points with an 11th place finish there at Dover. The next Xfinity race is Friday evening at Charlotte for a 300-mile race. So if you get through Friday traffic in time, you can come home and watch a race. Later, last Saturday, I watched the Camping World Truck Series race at Las Vegas as I tried to keep up with the goings-ons out at Yakima Speedway there on the computer. From what I was reading, many of the cars got torn up Saturday night at day 1 of Fall Classic. In the first of the twin 75-lap races for the West Coast Street Stocks, it was nice to read of 2 of my favorites, West Coast Street Stock Series champion number 95 Buck Knoll Jr. and Evergreen Hard Charging regular number 20 Andy Soul finished 2nd and 3rd to the West Coast Street Stock Series Rookie of the Year number 92 Zach Washington. Let me get me another drink here. Still got some of that dust in my throat from Yakima. In the Camping World truck race at Las Vegas, I was disappointed that Auburn, Washington driver Tyler Tanner again had to start and park for a paycheck and a last place finish. While chicken restaurant heir John West Townley finally won his first major NASCAR race in his number 05 Zaxby's Chicken Silverado. The points positions remained unchanged because leader phenom Eric Jones finished 9th at Las Vegas in the Toads number 4 Tundra. Matt Crafton was 8th, maintaining a 2nd in points, and Tyler Reddick now is 3rd in points there as he finished 7th in the race. Former Fall Classic winner Cameron Haley in his number 13 Tundra finished 10th. The next truck race is the 24th of this month at my favorite track, Talladega, and I will be there. Yes, yes. I'm really excited about it, folks, but I'm trying to keep the excitement down until we get closer. Okay, while lamenting on Facebook on how I would miss this year's Fall Classic, a friend and race fan came to my rescue. Yes, Jana Helmut. Yeah, you've heard that name before. That's my accountant and mother of local favorite super late model driver Molly Helmut offered passage for my wife and me to Yakima for the big race on Sunday. We gratefully accepted. And because of Jana race fans, you can see my version of the 28th annual Fall Classic and most of the other 3 races there at South Sound on Sunday on the YouTube channel. And the Fall Classic video has already gotten over 160 watches, so thank you very much. And a special thank you, shout out goes, of course, to Jana Helmut, who saved the day, folks. And it was really nice talking to Jana on the trip over. She did a lot to enlighten me on just how much even a local late model team can spend each season on 10 to a dozen races. Tires, brakes, vinyl lettering, fenders, gas, safety gear, transportation, lodging, entry fees, pit passes for the crew, tools, pit equipment, all sorts of stuff, folks. Racing is not cheap. Something you might remember next time you attend one of the local races there. Sunday, we got up and ready for the trip to Yakadega. I set the recording equipment for Dover, and we met up with Jana for the trip over. While we traveled, and then also while we were watching the first of the couple of races there at Yakima, NASCAR was busy eliminating 4 drivers from the chase for the Cup. But one of those was not to be Happy Harvick, who was happy to show the racing world how diamonds are formed under extreme pressure. By the end of the day, his tenacity took Harvick from the verge of elimination to a victory that transferred Happy to the next round. The Toad finished second, pulling him up well enough in the rankings to make the next round of the chase. Dale Jr. finished third, which barely qualified him for the next round over Jamie McMurray, who finished fourth and missed continuing in his first chase by a tiebreaker there with Dale Jr. The others eliminated at Dover were Paul Menard, Clint Boyer, whose troubles just seem to continue there at Michael Waltrip Racing, but look a lot brighter for his future there. And six-time champion Jimmy Johnson had a devastating part problem during the race that relegated him to a 41st place finish, ending his chase. Yep, folks, he has been eliminated. Besides the Toad, Happy, and Dale Jr., others that advanced this week were last week's winner, Matt the Brat Kenseth, Chicagoland's winner, Little Denny Hamlin, the Joker Logano, Bad Brad Keselowski, both of those for Penske, Cousin Carl Edwards, another Gibbs driver, Kurt, I wish he was an only child, Busch, Martin Truex Jr., who ran afoul of the officials before the race, and I hear his crew chief has been put on probation for the rest of the year. Also continuing in the chase, No Neck Newman and the old man Jeff Gordon. The next race, chase race there, is Saturday night under the lights at Charlotte Motor Speedway, with qualifying tomorrow night. And also tomorrow, NBCSN is showing their broadcast of the K&N East race at Dover last weekend, so that should be interesting too. Sunday, when we got to Yakima Speedway, we got our tickets, and you know, I do not remember tickets being as expensive as they were this year. Then we went in to watch the remainder of the 50-lap Super Stock Main, which their Super Stocks are like hobby stocks that run at South Sound Speedway. In fact, South Sound hobby stock champion Charles Metters was there in his number 47 Nova, though he got caught up in a crash. The race had an exciting finish for third between John Vallone and Cody Graham, while Dusty John won the race and Mike Hill was second. Next up, in the Mini Stock Nationals, 45 cars hit the track for 40 exciting laps for drivers of those darling little four-cylinder race cars from all over the Northwest. I saw one of my favorites from South Sound running around in the back in her purple number 26, having a good old time, I'm sure. The big contest for the little cars was eventually won by the 00 of Brad Rhodes, with 18 of Jason Gott's second, and the number 4 of Josh Childress in third. Okay, next up was one of my favorite series out here, with the second of the twin 75-lap mains for the West Coast Street Stock Series. And, of course, one of my favorite drivers, Buck Knoll Jr., champion of the series this year, ran up to the front from the mid-pack in only 9 laps, folks. He had a good car that evening. Then he led through several cautions until near the end of the race when he cut a tire and limped around for a top 10 finish. This cut tire provided number 20, Chad Hinkle, driving for the Honey Badger, and he sold the brake that he needed to charge to the front and win the event over number 27, Mark Berrio, and number 22, Brian Getz. Okay, last for the evening. Let me get me another drink here. Like I said, there was so many people running off the track there at Yakima. I still got some dust in my throat. Okay, last for the evening there at Yakima was the 28th annual, and I hope not the last, Fall Classic for Yakima Speedway. The field was led to green by the number 15 Ford of Taylor Riddle, who I'd seen earlier this year win at the Tucson Speedway on Fans Choice TV. He went on to lead every lap of the 200-lap contest there in Yakima. His brother Owen ran up front in second with Taylor until about lap 70. When Owen mysteriously lost power on a restart, then got caught up in a really bad wreck on the front stretch that was not of his making. There were way more than enough cautions spread out over the 200 laps, so the race took a long time, but when it finally ended, Taylor Riddle was still leading in his number 15 Ford. Garrett Archer was able to overcome a setback early in the race to finish second, and Evergreen regular winner from just a few weeks ago there, Donnie Wannett, weathered all the attrition to finish third in the 28th Fall Classic. Granted, it would have been better if Taylor Riddle had not stunk up the show, but it was still a fun day of racing for the last day of racing in Washington State. After the race, I went in the pits to try to see many of my racing friends there, so shout-outs go to lots of people, but I know I'm going to miss a bunch. Jim, I hope you're feeling better there. Scott, I hope your Mustang's feeling better. Jana, thank you. Mike, Toby, Donna, Bucky, oh man, Robert, Bob, Chad, Tina, Molly, Nicole, Rich, Ronnie, Chad, Bradley, Dirk. You got a nice looking car there. I hope you find you some speed over the off season. Kelly, Leanne, Rod, Wendy, and there are just so many people, and so many people that I'm sorry that I missed, like Thomas, Melissa, Vicky, Andy, Brittany, Mike, Marilyn, Tommy, Nick, and so many others that I probably won't see again until next season. So we'll see you next season, folks. Looking forward to it. And for those that did not get enough racing, I'm reading that Hermiston, Oregon is planning racing and demolition derbies on their nice little track there on the 24th of this month. Of course, I won't be able to make it. I will be at Talladega Superspeedway watching Tyler Tanner and hopefully more than a start and park. And I've been hearing good things that it probably will be. He needs to practice for moving on up. So, if you want to see racing, sounds like you have one more chance there at Hermiston. Or maybe if you can afford it, make a trip to Texas or Phoenix next month. But live racing is getting harder and harder to come by, folks. But there's always next season. So, go see a race if you can. And Also, right now is some of the best racing you will see all year on TV, as evident by Kevin Harvick's do or die victory this past weekend at Dover. It was just great, even in a recording. Also, Formula One is winding down their season with a sort of flyaway race at Sochi this weekend for the Russian Grand Prix. So, I will be up early Sunday to see if Lewis Hamilton, my favorite, can continue his dominance in his Mercedes Silver Arrow, or maybe Sebastian Vettel will pull off another win for the Scuderia Ferrari. We will just have to see how that turns out early Sunday morning. But after quite a few weekends in a row, I won't be going to see live racing locally around here, folks. There just isn't any. But I plan to make up for it, plan to make up for it when I go back to Sweet Home, Alabama in a couple of weeks. Until then, watch racing where you can. There is still plenty on TV and Fans Choice TV. Don't forget the computer there. And check in next week to see how I am faring without any live racing for my Racing Fix. Until then, I thank you. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch my little show about stock car racing. And please, please tune in next week. Same stock car time, same stock car channel. Thanks for watching, folks. Hope you watch next week. Until then, go watch some racing!